is we've seen a sporadic but rising numbers of heroin consequences. We've also seen the introduction for the first time in over a decade Mexican black tar heroin rather than just Colombian South American heroin. And that generally comes at a lower price, lower quality, but also lower price. If we're really successful in cutting off the diverted opioids, then we are either going to have to do massive treatment resources or face a major heroin epidemic in our region. We're looking at the main new trend for this new decade is really an opiate epidemic that is generating within the prescription opioid non-medical use, but then also the transfer of heroin. We looked at the heroin deaths in Broward County last year, and more than half of those who died either with heroin as a lethal dose or heroin detected in their system at the time of death, more than half of those deaths also had at least one, in several cases several, opioids on board. Prescription opioids on board at the same time. So it's not so much people necessarily switching from a prescription opioid and then to heroin and totally changing over, but in fact they're already using both. And your question is right on target, and also at the foundation of why we must also increase addiction treatment resources in our community.
Yes. I have to say, like, just in helping plan this event, I learned a lot. And in the past, I sort of thought of pain management as maybe a practitioner who was an anesthesiologist, did a fellowship in pain, or a PM&R doctor, maybe a psychiatrist. And I'm wondering if any of you have any information statistically on people operating these pill mills, because to a lot of us, to the student physicians out here, we don't know what kind of doctor turns into a pill mill doctor. Are you seeing more family practitioners, internists? Are they anesthesiologists? Like, are they board medical graduates? Who's coming over? Who's doing this?
They're alcoholics.
There are people who need money.
And it's interesting you said anesthesiologists, and the highest addiction rate isn't with anesthesiologists. Dr. Mark Gold did a research project which was very interesting. What happens in the operating room, and what they found out that a lot of the drugs that they use, it's in the air, and it gets on the equipment, and it gets on the anesthesiologist's hair, his clothes, and when they touch it, they absorb it into their body. So people that are addicted to drugs, and like anesthesiologists, they go to recovery, they get to be with the program, go back into working again, they have to be very careful, because sometimes they take off their glove, because they want to, check the dials, and they take off their hat, and they rub it, touch their hair, goes right into their body. So there's a lot of stuff that we're really looking at. How are people getting addicted in different quadrants?
And what I've seen from some of the people that we've done stories on, these are older doctors.
Okay.
Sometimes they're retired and they come out of retirement to make money. Sometimes, and you can't paint everyone with the same brush, but they are doctors who are not specialists in pain management. They've had no training whatsoever. Their backgrounds have been in things as diverse as obstetrics and gynecology, and they are now treating people for pain problems. So it's kind of across the board, but it's not. I don't think you're going to find successful, happy practitioners making the transition into a pill mill.
You're also going to see, it's a great point you just made. It is a lot of the times the older person who is trying to make funds or they're suddenly seeing this interest that they can make money very easily without much work whatsoever. But also keep in mind that I'm sure that a lot of these people, as Jim was saying, have substance abuse issues, and they are whether they are actually getting into this field because of their substance abuse related issues, or they're diverting the medications for personal use, diverting it to get cash to supply their own habit. That's also something probably happening.
On the way into this panel, I was on a radio show in Winnipeg, Canada, And they apparently, a prominent physician in their community had just lost his license because he was not only running a pill mill, but he was consuming, he was writing false prescriptions and taking them himself. So, like he's saying, it can also be that they're using it to fund their own health.
What we've also seen too, or heard about it, I haven't seen it firsthand, but I've heard about it, physicians who are in private practice, not in a pill mill, but dispensing these medications, will write 3 prescriptions, and the deal will be that they kick back one to him. And so that's a problem too, because some of these physicians that are getting involved in this, whether they're alcoholics or whether they're drug abusers themselves, but, they have definite issues. But, the bottom line here, and so to me anyway, from somebody, again, as just a